morning, everyone. This is Greg here with the Con Hour, and we are here for day 2 of Eastern Rim. We want to make sure that everyone gets out here that can. We are at Lee College in Baytown. Come on out and check out everybody. It's a great show here. Lots to look at, lots to see, lots of people to talk to. You never know who might become your favorite author, artist, and comic book collector. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. Games, dolls, toys, t-shirts, a lot of stuff here. Definitely books and artwork. So come on out, and we will have a couple more interviews today, so check us out. We will be here. Come on by. Look for the Con Hour. Adio, everybody.
Hey y'all, it's one of your favorite co-hosts from the Con Hour. We finally made it here. It's been honestly, it took 2 hours, which should have been 6 minutes because of traffic, but we made it. So right now I'm here with Miss Julie Brock, and check out her t-shirt. If you notice, this is the Con Hour t-shirt. Yay! But Miss Julie Brock is part of the Twisted Time Machine. Can you tell us about what is the Twisted Time Machine?
Okay, so the Twisted Time Machine focuses, it's a shop, it's a small shop at Marketplace Antiques on Katy Freeway.
So it's a brick and mortar.
It's a brick and mortar.
Nice.
And we focus on physical media, so VHS and DVDs and Blu-rays
comic books,
and cassette tapes, comics, records,
pops,
all that kind of
cards,
stuff.
Yeah.
But of course we have favorites like toys and miscellaneous vintage collectibles. And we're also the home of the $5 shirt. So we have a nice rack of $5 shirts.
Nice. So what made you start this?
Well, I retired from teaching about 5 years ago. I had breast cancer surgery, and so I was forced to kind of retire a little bit early. So I needed something to do, something to get me out of the house, and at least for 3 days a week, we're open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay. So just something to do.
Nice. Okay, and so how did you find this stuff? Because there's quite a lot that's even just here. That's not even at your store.
Yeah.
But how do you find the stuff that you get?
Well, I get that question asked a lot. And I usually say, that's the one question you can't ask me. Because I don't know. Half of this stuff appears on my doorstep. Of course, at shows like this, I go around and I meet other vendors and I buy from them. And I have people, former students, friends, family that just give me stuff because they're, wanting to make some space in their house, or they just don't want it anymore, and so they'll come by and just give me boxes full of stuff.
So $1 million question. I know being an author, it's like asking your favorite child, but what's your favorite one? Your favorite fandom, your favorite thing in the fandom? What's your favorite one? Besides the Con Hour, I'm just saying.
I would say, above everything else, an Elvira fan.
Ooh.
So I love Elvira. I've met her a few times, and used to watch her in college religiously. So anything Elvira, I would want for my own collection.
Okay, so fun fact, CJ Peterson stands for Cassandra Joy Peterson. My name is Cassandra Peterson, and I went by CJ Peterson because Elvira Mistress of the Dark is CJ Peterson, and I would have been buried in Google.
That's amazing.
That's
I didn't know
fun
that.
fact not a lot of people know. So yes, I am a Cassandra Peterson as well. So thank you so much for taking a little bit of time today. Now, where is your brick and mortar store at?
Okay, so this is 10910 Katy Freeway. So that's out west on I-10 at Beltway 8 on the west side. And my suite number is 199. We have a little mini mall, fandom mall we call it, with lots of very cool, in fact there are several vendors that are here today that have little shops there. So it's a great place to come and look for collectibles and comics and movies and whatever, you name it.
Well, thank you for being an awesome fan, and thank you for taking a little time out of your day today. And make sure to come down to the Eastern Rim Con today at Lee College, and we're only here until 5, so make sure you get down here. Have a good one. Jay Peterson from the Con Hour, one of your favorite co-hosts. I'm here with Mr. James Chisholm. from
Hey
Nerdfest,
everybody!
Texas.
From Nerdfest, Texas, Nerdfest, the Facebook group, and NerdCon coming in December.
And he was also on, do you remember, one of our shows?
Yeah, I got to say, I loved being on the Con Hour. My favorite moment on the Con Hour was when I...
What all do you have? Because I know Nerdfest, first of all, encompasses a lot to begin with.
Yeah, Nerdfest is our Facebook group.
You have
cool
a
stuff.
rather eclectic mix.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot. It's here.
Yeah, well, we love tons of stuff. And
I noticed your shirts are gone. You had t-shirts yesterday.
we did have t-shirts yesterday. They were a little hard to... I have a minivan,
Oh,
so
okay.
I was like, what can I take home tomorrow?
Okay.
You know, so I had to
But
kind
there
of think
is
about it.
literally, if you love it, there is at least something on this table that you will like. I mean,
I appreciate you saying that. Thank
it does.
you.
It runs the
Yeah.
gamut. I mean, there's not much that's not touched.
Well, you know,
regarding fandom.
everything kind of starts off. We just kind of test the waters on stuff. It was like our pink table. If you go to a convention, you don't find a lot of tables that are really dedicated to like My Little Pony and Hello Kitty and you know, we were like, because we had always heard the quote unquote girls' toys don't sell or whatever, and I'm like, that's insane.
I don't think so.
And we tested it out, and we're like, you know what? Dads bring their girls, moms come with their girls, and they connect, and women connect to their toys of their childhood just as much as men do. So.
I'm my treehouse. I have a lot of toys. I promise you.
Absolutely. And so we just started selling them like crazy. So it's all like trial and error. We see something cool, we pick it up. Of course, we know we've got our stuff that's always going to sell, and we look for cool stuff for both kids and collectors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about Nerdfest? It's going to be December 4th.
So NerdCon is December 4th.
sorry.
It's okay. Like the library named it NerdCon. I was hoping to call it Nerdfest because, you know, promoting everything I do. But yeah, it's going to be December 4th. It's going to be in Mont Belvieu, Texas. We're working on our guest list now, but we are going to be bringing some known anime guests for sure. We're going to try to bring some good comic book guests.
Can you give us any sneak peeks?
I will
Just
tell
one?
you that our main guest right now that we have signed on, her name rhymes with Glenda Young. So just take off that G and you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
No, Linda Young, and we're going to make a formal announcement, but Linda Young's going to be our great guest. She has been on Dragon Ball Z as Lord Frieza. She's done a lot of great animes. We're going to be bringing her. We're going to look at some awesome anime guests. So we're going to try to bring a good crowd, good collective, good crowd of guests.
And you helped Jerry with this, correct?
So I do all of the media stuff for Eastern Rim. Jerry does 90% of everything, and I do the other 10%. So I do as far as any commercials that need to be done. I help make announcements, things like that. For NerdCon, we really run that more in a 50-50. He's really good at the logistics part. I'm really good at promotions, and so that's what we do together.
Awesome.
But yeah, Eastern Rim is very much his show. It's very much his stamp on it. It's very comic book focused. NerdCon, we kind of join together, and it's much more of a pop culture focus. We do a lot that promotes the library in the city, and libraries are so important. And if you're a pop culture fan, guys, you should go to a library because not only do they have great books that you can read by awesome artists, but they also have manga, they have movies, they have video games, they have all kinds of great programs for young readers and also for adult readers as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate
It's my
you.
pleasure.
And
This is probably the longest interview you've done all day, and only asking 3 questions.
Probably.
Yeah,
Probably.
that's okay.
But make sure to look out for more information on NerdCon.
NerdCon.
For December 4th. And thank you, James, for helping out. And
It
thank
is
you for
my
taking a little
pleasure.
bit of your time. And make sure to come down here to Eastern RimCon. We're here until 5 o'clock today. See you later.
All right.
Hey, y'all. It's one of your favorite co-hosts from the Con Hour. I'm still here. I'm one of the few that are here because the nasty traffic on I-10. My husband's on his way, and he says there are now 5 accidents on I-10. So if you're out there, please be careful. But right now we're talking to Mr. Steve Irwin.
Hi.
Not to be connected to Steve Irwin. He was the original. So Mr. Irwin is an illustrator, and as you can see his art, it's actually amazing when you're looking at it. Can you tell us how you got started?
I've been drawing since I was a little child. That was my thing to do. And growing up through school, it was my talent. I was not athletically inclined at all, and it was my creative outlet, and it was what, in my classroom setting, it was what made me popular in my class.
Nice.
So whenever there was an art thing to do, they came to me. So that was
So
that
you were
kind of
getting
thing.
commissions before it was a thing.
But before, and I wasn't being paid for it. But yeah, whenever we needed to decorate the door for Christmas or something like that, they'd come, hey, have Steve do that.
Now, you mentioned that you did art for DC.
Yes.
How did that come about?
Well, backtracking just a little bit, I always, my grandfather used to sit on the porch.
Louder.
My grandfather used to sit on the porch and tell stories to the neighborhood kids, and I liked that storytelling kind of aspect. And I discovered at a later time, like in junior high, that telling stories in pictures was something that I would really like to do. So I aimed my artistic talents in school towards maybe someday being able to draw comic books. And at the end of a long run, I actually wound up drawing comic books. And
But how did you make that connection? Like, how did you get connected into actually DC? That's like an artist's
into actual
dream.
DC.
Yeah.
Okay. My first comics jobs were for smaller publishers, and at the time, First Comics was located in Chicago.
Okay.
And they were one of the larger, smaller publishers, and so I got some of my best, most best comics art training jobs working with that company. And it's also one of those cases where it helps to know people that can help you find work when you need it. So I made a really good reputation with one of the editors at First Comics. He complimented me on the work that I did, and that I turned it in on time, and so we worked well that way. He eventually took an editorial position at DC Comics, and of the books that he was given control of, one of them he was losing his artist on, and he thought that I would be appropriate for that particular job.
Right place, right time.
Right, yes. And so today we call it networking, but he thought that I would be a good fit for that particular project. So he hired me on for that project.
Cool.
And so that first project at DC led to the next one and the next one and the next one.
Very cool. Now, you do stuff old school, correct? You actually pencil it and then ink it and then color it?
Yes, I draw on paper rather than digitally.
I saw you working on
Yes.
one when I was coming up, and so I love the old school aspect. I'm kind of an old soul, so I like the 35mm film. I like the handwritten ones because you can do a lot more detail with a handwritten and a hand drawing. So I do congratulate you. These are amazing, especially knowing that they're done by hand and not on a computer.
Thank you. Yes.
So congratulations. For people who want to find you online, how do they find you?
They would need to contact my agent,
Okay.
rather than me personally, and I'm drawing a blank. That happens to me. So,
do you have a website or anything?
There's a company name. I don't have a website.
Okay.
No. I used to have a website, but I'm notorious for not maintaining that kind of a thing. So I wound up just simply letting it go.
It's the creative mind. It just kind of goes every direction.
Which is why I have an agent.
Aha.
And I normally have cards out with that agent's information, which is why I don't
have it out.
If I have it on paper, I don't have to remember.
Oh, that's okay. Just make sure to look you up at some point, and I'm sure somebody can connect you. Well, thank you for taking a little bit of time during your day. Really appreciate it. And stay tuned for more. Hey y'all, it's CJ Peterson, one of your favorite co-hosts for the Con Hour. We're still here at Eastern Rim. We're here today until 5 o'clock. Today is the last day. You got to come down. Free admission and parking. And it's an open book. You can come down here and you can find lots of stuff. Comic books, artists, authors. I mean, it runs the gamut. But right now I'm here talking to Mr. Sean Mackey.
Hi everyone. Hope you're all doing all right.
So Mr. Sean actually is an illustrator or artist, as well as he has a King of the Iron Sticks Festival coming up. Can you explain what that is?
All right, so King of the Iron Sticks is a festival to find out who the best Tekken player is in the Houston area.
So it's gaming.
Yes, gaming.
Gaming. Amy.
Yep. So if you're a big Tekken fan, we'll be doing the PS4. It'll be Tekken 7. Rules will be on the Facebook page. You can look for King of the Iron Sticks, not fists, but sticks. Yep. And
So when is it? Where is it?
Yeah. So it'll be November 13th at 8th Wonder Brewery. Event starts at 12 p.m. and then it'll go on to 10 p.m. And then, you're welcome to enter the tournament, or you just come out and have fun. We'll have food trucks, live music, vendors will be there set up, hopefully. And
Now, is this your first, or is this a yearly, or?
no, right. This is the first event, and we're hoping to make it a yearly or maybe even a quarterly event. It just depends on how it goes.
Nice. So if lots of people come down to the event, it will be more often. So let's jump over to your artistic side. So you did all of these?
Yes, everything here is done by me. There's only been one other artist I've collaborated with, but for the most part, I feel like it adds a bit more to the experience if it's all my art.
Now, how do you do your art? Is it pencil and ink, or is it computer? Is it a little mix of both? Or
A mix of both. Some pieces I've done are straight pencil and then inked, and then others I have a XP pen at home that it's pretty much a Wacom tablet that lets me draw on my computer. And so mostly been doing digital art.
now, how long have you been doing this?
See, I've been drawing for about 35 years now, and I am 35. But I've started doing conventions 2017.
So you're an old timer.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. So people who want to find more about the festival online, go to where?
Oh, they can search on Facebook for King of the Iron Fist.
Okay.
Yep.
And then to find you online, how do they find you?
You can go on Instagram or Facebook and search for The Art in War. Yeah.
Awesome. And do you have a website or anything?
Yes, I do. It's a Linktree. The Art in War.
The Art and War. So the Art and War is your handle.
Yes.
Awesome.
That's right.
So
Nice.
anybody looking for more of these, check them out. Pretty cool. And make sure to check out the King of the Iron Sticks Festival. That's going to be November 13th, 2021 at the 8th Wonder Brewery in Houston, Texas. So stand by for a few more. We'll see y'all in a little bit. Bye. Jay Peterson, one of your favorite co-hosts for the Con Hour, and the favorite host, Mr. Greg Caliso, is behind the camera. So far, he hasn't gotten me yet today by starting without telling me, but he probably will eventually. We're here today with somebody you've actually already met, Miss Amanda Flores.
Hello, everyone.
I met her when El Iriachi interviewed her for, what was that?
That was PowerFest.
PowerFest 3, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So you're an artist, and so you did all of this.
Most of it's really me and my booth mate, which is Justin Rodriguez.
Awesome. And how long have you been drawing?
Oh, I've been drawing since I was really young, but professionally, I've been doing it for 2-3 years already.
Okay, now do you do old school? Do you do computer? Do you do a mix?
I do a mix of stuff, not computer yet. That's one of my goals, transition to digital art, but it's basically marker, which is Copic, and then pencil, and as well pastel, which
Awesome.
is, yeah.
So how long have you been drawing?
Like I
Because
said,
some of these are
yes.
amazing.
Thank you so much. Yes.
That's one of your favorite co-hosts from the Con Hour. We're here with our last interview for the day, and we saved the best for last, Mr. Jerry Schaeffer, the coordinator and pretty much person who's head man in charge,
Oh, thank you.
Commander-in-Chief of the Eastern Rim Con. So thank you for talking to us today, sir.
I'm happy to be here. I'm so happy to be part of this, and I'm so happy that y'all are here as well.
Awesome. Can you tell us what made you start this?
Okay, so here's the deal. I'm part of what's called the Fred Aguilar Promise Center. We are a nonprofit community center that works to help better, the community in general and locally and abroad. And we provide services for our kids. For instance, at the end of the day, we'll have tutorials for kids, after-school tutorials on Tuesdays and Thursdays when things are more normal, obviously. And we also have leadership camps in the summer for kids, so they can come in and we can show them how everything works, and they get to meet the mayor, they get to meet our superintendent, the police chief. We take them to places like the Holocaust Museum, or we take them to the state capitol, and so they get to know these things that they may not have access to in general life. We teach them about working lunches, how those things are, so that way when we're old and decrepit we have someone to take over for us.
We also have cultural things like Dia de los Muertos celebrations. We have concert series. We have all kinds of stuff that we do. And Agustin Loredo, who is the vice president, and myself are both comic book nerds. And we thought, why don't we do something like say, the Son of Houston Con, which is Don Price, actually, he's here today as one of our vendors. And, that sort of inspired us to think we could do something like that. And so we thought, what can we do? Okay, well, let's get some vendors and see what happens, that at the Promise Center at our building. And folks came, and we had about 150 the first year. And then the second time that we did it, about 6 months later, more or less, we had about 350. And we know we can keep it in Promise anymore because there wasn't going to be able to hold it. Right. So we got with the city, and they shot some hotel motel funds in our direction, and we were able to have it the following time at Lee College, at a different part of Lee College than we are right now. And what it came down to is this: the very idea of connection and access. Okay, cons are very expensive, and I'm not begrudging anybody who's making money off of a con. That's great and terrific. They provide a service in that way, and if people who can afford it can go, and that's great. That's terrific. We wanted to give an alternative to that process, in addition to it, not as just separate and do us instead of them. We all help each other out with our existence. So,
and when you start to do the different things, you start to run into a lot of the same vendors and a lot of the same artists and authors and stuff, and so it's a big old family.
Exactly.
Not fighting.
Not at all. Not at all. Just another option. And the thing is, is that it's expensive to go to a con. It's $75 per ticket. Okay, so if you have a family of 4, you're looking at least almost $400.
Yeah.
Then you have to park every day. You have to go and the thing that I always say, you go get some nice con pizza. It's about $9 or $10, and it's mostly styrofoam and a little bit of sand in there. So high quality, right? And what ends up happening, what ends up happening is that you eventually have to just eat almost $400 before you get in the door to do anything that you want to do, to get any autographs, to get any pops or any toys or any sort of merchandise, comic books, any of that kind of stuff. Ultimately, we wanted to be able to do it for free, open the doors for anyone, give anyone access to come in, have a good time, to meet comic book writers and authors, general authors like yourself, like Greg, like your sister. Be able to connect with toy vendors, with people who are selling pops, with people who are selling vintage items, the whole gamut of what we are.
Well, the thing I love about it is it's on a college campus. So you're at the college-age kids who are trying to figure out, what can I do? I have this dream. I love art, but can I really do it?
Right.
I'm great at English, but can I really write a book? And there are people who you can actually talk to who are doing it.
Exactly.
And it's not going to cost you to come in. That's great. College students, it's free to come in.
Absolutely. We have Fern, who's been talking to some folks about writing and stuff. I know y'all have done that as well. And the thing is this: when it's all said and done, access allows you to be able to figure out who you are, as you said, but it also allows you to expand who you are beyond the levels of where you were. And in the end, when you have that, what do you have? You have a bridge that allows you to move forward
and make a connection with whoever it is you were talking
to.
Exactly. I love it.
And so that's what we're about. It's about access. It's about connection. It's about interaction, interconnection, and the ability for us as an entity to serve our community in a much broader and bigger fashion.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sherry, for putting this on. And this is your 3rd year?
4th year.
4th year.
Yeah.
4th year. So that's awesome. And the fact that it is free admission, free parking today here at Lee County College until 5 p.m. tonight. For those who are heading into I-10, my husband is currently on it. There are 5 accidents, so make sure you leave yourself lots of time to get down I-10. So in the meantime, thank you for all your time. Thank you for doing all of this, because
my pleasure.
It was probably not easy. So we appreciate you. And thank you guys for listening to the Con Hour. This is our last one for today, and we will catch you on Tuesday at 11:10, same time, same sandbox.